from the third rail. I hope everybody's doing fine or having a nice day. We got a great show for you today. We're gonna discuss Donald Trump's picks. We thought that Donald Trump will be America first instead of he turned out to be Israel first. Don't understand why the president is doing what he's doing, huh? What's going on over here? Hold on, there's a lot of lights in here. Looks like it's snowing in here. All right, okay, just leave it as it is. I don't have nobody to help. Anyway, everybody, I hope you're doing fine. This is Omar. I haven't did a show in a couple of days. Had surgery in my eyes. Couldn't see no more. Getting old, you know how it is. Had cataract, whatever the hell it's called. Didn't know why and how. Anyway, who are we gonna deal first with? Donald Trump, or are we gonna deal with the Democratic Party's coping of why they lost the election? You understand? It is weird and very, it's very weird and distraction that you did, like they don't know why they lost the election. You understand? It is strange as hell. Give me a second, okay? There's too many lights here. Okay, let me get these lights off. Give me a second, all right, guys? Don't be Let me shut off the mic. Let me make a phone call here. So let's start with our president, Donald Trump. I voted for Donald Trump because we wanted a change, because we were tired of what's going on with the Democratic Party. Because the Democratic Party had became a party that is only protecting one segment of our population. Okay, hold on. Let me shut off the camera. Hold on. Go. All right, we're back. You have to get rid of that light, man. I can see. So the Democratic Party, let me see if I have sound, because I don't go through the whole show without sound. The Democratic Party has forgotten its bread and butter. It has become a party of the elites. It has become the party of pronouns, all cancellation. You can't say this. You gotta. There are 77 or 89 pronouns. You have to call everybody by their name. We have to introduce the stuff to your kids in school and things of that nature. You see, the sound is good. Okay. All right. So the Democratic Party was playing this game with its people. They didn't realize how people felt, that people don't want to be, these matters should be private matter. If people want to be trans or they want to be gay, it's okay for them to be gay. This is America. Anybody could be whatever they want. But you cannot force feed it to the people who are supporting the Democratic Party. You understand? So the Democratic Party continue that Trump is Hitler. Oh, he's going to be the dictator. America's democracy is going to be finished. Things of that nature. Nobody gave an F because everybody was having issue paying their bills. You understand? I don't have no time to be fighting no cultural war about genderism or about sexuality, about things of that nature. We don't have the American people, they don't have no time for that. When they go to the grocery store, I go to the grocery store. I'm like everybody else. I'm a poor guy. I don't make that kind of money. And my $100 doesn't buy me what I need like I used to. You understand? So the whole idea, the only cheap thing you find in a supermarket is milk. They do that on purpose just to attract. I used to be in the retail business. So if you want to attract family, you make things that are daily cheap, and so you can come in the store and you can hit them over the head with something else. You understand? These glasses are new, so they bother my nose. Anyway, so let's see what the Democratic Party analysts going to blame it on. Let's see what they're going to say, because the big elephant in the room is Gaza. Many Americans were turned off by Joe Biden's We're going to do that, then we're going to go to Donald Trump, okay? Many Americans were turned off by Biden's inability to stop a genocide that we are funding financially and weapon-wise. I mean, 24 hours a day, we have cargo planes, a bridge from Western Europe all the way to Israel, bringing Americans weapons. A stock of weapons that we had in Israel, we had a stockpile in Israel in case of a major war, has been depleted by Israel on the people who have no real military. Palestinians don't have no air force, they don't have no tanks. And the failure of Kamala Harris to actually try to build her base. Instead of shooting for Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney is a war criminal. That's like another smack in the face for the Arab American community in Dearborn, Michigan. And she refused to meet with the uncommitted voters, 350,000 in Pennsylvania, 100,000 in Georgia, about 400 to have 1 million Arab Americans in Dearborn and Michigan as a whole. And what she did, she sent Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton is compromised by the Jeffrey Epstein stuff. He went there and he gave a speech and he called the West Bank Samara and Judah. That's the language of the occupation. What the hell they were doing? And she refused to go on any podcast. They kept her, oh, don't talk too much. She was a robot. So what do you think that when the pundits get on TV, let's see who they're going to blame on what. Let's see, because they are upset because suburban white women did not vote again for women presidential, what do you call it? Presidential candidate. They didn't do it. We're not going to do it. Let me see, hold on.
Protests on college campuses. Women in the suburbs are horrified when they see Jewish kids getting bullied.
Shut the hell with you, horrified. You can't even speak English. Horrified. They were horrified. Okay, this is on CNN, and they have those, those panels of the same idiots every night, and they're all discussing always the same thing, the same stuff that's happening, whatever it is. Is that okay? I'm gonna leave it like that there. And where am I? Am I something? Hello. All right. So they were talking, they're trying to understand why the Democratic Party lost. Why did they lose by so much? Why did they lose African-American men? Why did they lose Spanish men? Why did they lose white women? And they lost the Hispanic male. I mean, they lost the Asian, the Muslim. Everybody just gravitated toward Donald Trump. And he is the imperfect candidate. He just makes no sense. Do you understand? So the memo came out to them. They was telling them, listen, we have to find a different narrative why the Democratic Party lost, why Kamala Harris lost. We can't talk about Gaza. No. Gaza, the genocide, just ignore it. We've been ignoring it for a whole year and a half. We're not showing any videos of the death toll. We're not showing any numbers. We're not talking about how 40, 50 people are killed every day by 2,000 bombs. We don't do that because we are owned by a certain people in the media. Corporate America is Jewishly influenced. Fuck that. We're going to say the truth. We're not here to lie to everybody. Jews control the media in the United States. And I don't mean they control it as a cabal, but they do have a lot of influence. They own most of the media, or most of the journalists were Jewish kids who came out of the suburbs. Instead of being doctors and lawyers, they wanted to be journalists as the first estate. But when it came to Israel, we can't do that. Okay, let's say who they're going to, this is a plan. This is a plan. Listen, you're going to go on CNN. This is what you're going to say.
These protests on college campuses. Women in the suburbs are horrified when they see Jewish kids getting bullied and getting intimidated by these protesters who are then defended by elitist academics who are supposed to be the people rearing them up and looking out for them. That scares people. That feels like a shift that goes so far out of the mainstream of where the country wants to be. And I think that's one of the areas that the room was just misread by Democrats.
She's saying that's the room that was misread by Democrats. The reason that suburban women did not come out and vote for Kamala Harris was they were horrified at the visual of seeing Jewish kids getting bullied on university campus. I didn't see any there. Did you see anything there? Nothing. It was all a fucking propaganda. Are you telling me that women were turned off by some kid getting bullied, then seeing decapitated heads of babies and people being burned alive as they lay giving blood on the IV, or as they 80% of their neighborhoods have been decimated, and these buildings and rubbles have buried them under them? And according to certain human rights organizations in Europe, maybe there's 200,000 dead. So the Democratic Party misread the room because Jewish kids were being bullied. Why is it always the victimization and the victimhood of Jews? Why it has to get involved? You just got to call it out. American Jews should not be placidating, whatever the word is, what's going on in Gaza. A lot of people say, well, you can't say the word Jewish, but I mean, what are we going to say? Israelis are Jews. The ID says Jews. There's no such thing as an Israeli in Israel. Go look at the ID. The new law, the state right is called Israel is the state of the Jews. And it is being supported by Jewish billionaires. They even had a group on WhatsApp to combat the student movement. So let's say, hey, more.
The language has meaning. When we address Latino voters as Latinx, for instance, because that's the politically correct thing to do. It makes them think that we don't even live in the same.
Okay, hold on.
Now, I'm going to speak some hard truths to my friends in the Democratic Party. This is not Joe Biden.
Mind you, she's speaking hard truth right now. Let's see what she's going to say. Let's see what this lady's going to say. Let's see. Go ahead. Oh, sorry, I put up.
It's not Kamala Harris's fault. It's not Barack Obama's fault. It is the fault of the Democratic Party in not knowing.
Kamala Harris and Obama are the Democratic Party. Obama, they bring him out every October, and he's like that, you know how Reggie Jackson was Mr. October in baseball? You guys are too young. They used to call him Mr. October because he would get hot during the playoffs. Well, Obama is Mr. October to the Democrat, but he has not hit any home runs for them. I think they should keep him away, really. He's not a likable figure. He just talks and everybody.
How to communicate effectively to voters. We are not the party of common sense,
okay,
which is what the message that voters sent to us.
Okay.
For a number of reasons. For a number of reasons, we don't know how to speak to voters.
Okay.
When we address Latino, and language, listen, language has meaning. When we address Latino voters as Latinx, for instance, because that's the politically correct thing to do. It makes them think that we don't even live on the same planet as they do. When we are too afraid to say that, hey, college kids, if you're trashing a campus at Columbia University,
here we go,
because you're unhappy about some sort of policy and you're taking over a university.
So the whole idea, she's blaming that we calling that we are calling Hispanic American Latinx, whatever the word is. They're saying that's not it. It's stupid. But you have to understand why I brought you these videos. The whole idea is there are talking points. The whole idea, you got to go on TV and make sure Gaza does not come up as part of the loss of why Kamala Harris lost the race. You understand what I'm saying here? Let me just finish this and I'll come and do a talk in a little bit.
And you're trashing it and preventing other students from learning.
Yes, all about the students.
That is unacceptable. But we're so worried about alienating one or another cohort in our coalition that we don't know what to say. That
was the Arab. She's talking about us. So we were worried about the anger in one part of our coalition that we didn't stop those college students. We didn't stop them. That's them. It's them. Let's blame them.
Say when normal people look at that and say, wait a second, I send my kids to college so they can learn, not so that they can burn buildings and trash lawns, right? And so on and so forth. When we put pronouns after names.
All right, now.
And say.
Now she's going after the gays and gender. That's good. This one I agree with her on this part. Because it was getting crazy. The Democratic Party was like, you gotta call her he, she, they, them. What the hell is he, she, they, them? What is that? I'm confused. Good. I'm confused. I hate these glasses.
She, her, as opposed to saying, you know what, if I call you by the wrong pronoun, call me out. I'm sorry. I won't do it again. But stop with the virtue signaling and just speak to people like they're normal. There's nothing I'm going to say to Sir Michael that I'm not going to say to you, that I'm not going to say to somebody else. I speak the same language to everybody. But that's not what Democrats do. We constantly try to parse out different ways of speaking to different cohorts because our focus groups or our polling shows that so-and-so appeals to such and such. That's not how normal people think. It's not common sense. And we need to start being the party of common sense again. Joe Biden is not responsible for that. Neither is Kamala Harris. It is a problem that Democrats have had for years. I've been banging the drum on this for, I don't know how, probably 10 years, if not longer on this. We need to get back.
So you can't blame Joe Biden. Joe Biden has been part of the Democratic Party for 50 years. He is the Democratic Party. He is everything that is wrong with the Democratic Party. It is. If you can't blame Joe Biden, then who are you going to blame? Who is the Democratic Party? Who? If he's been part of the Democratic Party for 50 years, so Joe Biden is the poster child of the Democratic Party.
Back to being the party of common sense, that people look at us and say,
you have no common sense. The Democratic Party became stuck in it was a bubble. You know, if you look at my tweet, I say, listen, Kamala Harris is running as a moderate Republican. She's trying to win votes that are not hers. The Republican Party, no matter what, they always fall in line when it comes to the when it's time to vote. They fall in line. They're not gonna vote for you. Thank you, brother. Thank you. هذه حقيقة الإنجليزي. The Arabic is on Friday. Okay. So what was I saying? I got distracted by this guy's writing. I want to thank him for writing something. So the whole idea is that Kamala Harris refused to address her base. She isolated the left wing of the party, the progressive. She isolated the Muslim and Arab vote. She isolated the anti-genocide vote, and she went after something that she's not going to get it. Republicans will never vote for a Democratic. They won't. She got fooled by MSNBC. I'm going to get to that with the Morning Joe, that piece of shit, who all of a sudden now he's friend with Trump. Before he was Hitler, he's the enemy. And she got boom-bazzled by the Lincoln Project, which is made of dissatisfied Republican. This guy's trying to get back on my good grace. He was the Lincoln Project, which is made of these dissatisfied anti-Trump Republican. It's not that Trump doesn't want them. They don't make up the Republican Party. They have nobody. A matter of fact, all the money they made was from liberal Democrats, hoping that they will defeat Trump. They are grifters, just like Morning Joe. Joe Scarborough is a grifter. He's a conservative, hard Republican who came from the class of 1996 of New Gingrich and the new contract with American Republicans. You understand? The only reason he's doing all that shit show he does heavy money on MSNBC is because the audience are liberal. You understand? Hate these glasses. Hate them. They are tickling my nose. You understand? That's the only reason. So the Democrat has nobody to blame. Stop. You need to address bread and butter issue, table issue, kitchen table issue. We don't want to, we're not with the culture war. A matter of fact, this over playing your hands of defending the LGBT community, you're actually endangering them because you're putting them against the rest of your political base who are vying for attention from the Democratic Party. You understand? That's why I voted for Trump, and a lot of people voted for Trump because we wanted conservative values back in our schools, in our homes, in our neighborhoods, in our area. We need to educate our children the way we want to. We don't want the school system or the public school system to tell our kids what their sexuality is, the difference of sexualities in the world. Let them learn like we learn. We know I'm a boy and there's a girl and that's it. And let us answer the hard question when they come home and they say, Dad, what is that? And we'll explain it to them. School is for reading and writing. That's it. Keep it like that and you're going to win. But if you're going to keep on doing the same thing that you do, nobody's going to vote for you. We don't want that. You got to understand, nobody wanted that. Excuse me. All right. Let me see if I have one more clip to watch. Then we're going to go to Donald Trump. Okay? Here you go. Excuse me. Okay? Because, you know, had my eyes done, but I can't see. I got to go back and give it different. Is this the same idiot there? Let me get rid of this. We just saw that, right? Remove. Okay. Okay, here we go. All right. Let's see if I have one more. I think I have one more. Okay, here you go. One more. It's a little long, but it's very important. Ready?
Issues. And the Washington Post, Matt Bai, writes in part, I do think the prosecutions fed a narrative of Trump as a victim. I also think Democrats dug themselves into a hole on cultural issues and identity politics. Trump's vicious transgender ad in the closing weeks, she's for they, them, he's for you, was probably the most effective of the cycle. I think that probably landed with a lot of tradition.
Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, what did I do? Okay, hold on. Sorry. Come on, man.
Post Matt Bai writes in part, I do think the prosecutions fed a narrative of Trump as a victim. I also think Democrats dug themselves into a hole on cultural issues and identity politics. Trump's vicious transgender ad in the closing.
Et cetera, et cetera.
You know, I did this again. Hold on. I'm messing up here, guys. Give me.
I think that probably landed with a lot of traditionally Democratic voters who feel like the party is consumed with the cultural issues, while the economic issues don't really change.
That's right.
I think people needed a reason to feel good and hopeful about voting for her, and absent that, a lot of frustrated voters apparently decided to go with the guy who wants to burn it all down.
Let's dig a little deeper. Because you have that stacked on top of what happened on college campuses this fall, stacked on top of what's been happening on college campuses over the past 4 or 5 years. I have said this on the air, and every time I've said it, people said, oh, you're just saying that because you're a white conservative. No, I'm just saying it because every Democrat that we have ever sat down with dinner with over the past 5 years who have kids that go to colleges say their kids are afraid to speak in class.
See, we're back to the same narrative. This is the biggest hypocrite on TV. He has described Donald Trump as Hitler, Mussolini, as the next dictator. He's going to, I mean, he has done everything he can to vilify Donald Trump for ratings. He doesn't believe what he's saying, because I'm going to show you a new video of what he did after the election. These people will do anything to get ratings and get money. They are willing to you put this here. I'm better looking than him. You don't need to. Let me turn off one. What do you do? Okay. They are willing. Where are you? Okay. So I could go like this, right? Like this and like this, right? They are willing to do anything for ratings. They will do anything. They will say anything. They have divided. If I watch it MSNBC, I would have been like crazy hating Donald Trump. But the only thing, the more they did it, the more I said, I'm going to vote for Donald Trump. Because this stuff sounds a bit too crazy to be real, what they're saying. You understand? These people are all about the money. That's all the ratings of money.
They'll be canceled. Let me say that again.
Okay.
And they're all.
It's those college students. It's not Gaza. Okay. Don't talk about Gaza. Gaza, it doesn't exist.
Democrats. Everybody that we've had dinner with, if they have a kid in college, you can go, how the Red Sox going? Yeah, fine. Yeah. Sitting there eating. Beautiful day today, wasn't it? Yeah. You know, my daughter at University of Virginia, she's afraid to raise her hand in class.
I never heard of somebody being afraid to raise their hand in class. I've been to college. College, you don't even have to raise your hand if you don't want to do it. As a matter of fact, the professor sometimes doesn't even want you to raise your hand.
Because if she says something that's politically incorrect, she will immediately be canceled. She'll be shunned from class. She'll be destroyed in social media by noon. So they just sit in class quiet.
All this university and college talk is only to cover the Gaza genocide. They don't want to admit the fact that Gaza hurt the Democratic Party real bad. They know that. We know that. Everybody knows it. But they still want to deny it because they have to please their masters. Because they've been told by the ADL and APEC, don't talk about Gaza. Don't talk about the genocide. Don't mention the Palestinians. They don't even exist, okay? Don't do that, all right? Don't do it. Please don't do it. Okay.
Now, if any of you, which camera? Give me a camera to look at. Boom! Oh, look at that one. If any of you out there say, oh, that's just like a conservative, white, Southern guy, da-da-da, that's where you're losing. That's why you're losing. Because that's what I heard. And I didn't hear it from Republicans. I didn't hear it from Trumpers. I heard it from Democrats over the past 3 or 4 years. Their kids were afraid to talk in class and say something unpopular because they would be canceled.
I swear to God, this has nothing to do why the Democratic lost. This is nothing but running defense or cover for the ADL and the APEC money. They're afraid, man. And for their bosses at the upper echelon of MSNBC or NBC. They're afraid. Remember what happened to Hassan Mahdi? He lost his show because he grilled a spokesperson from Israel. He didn't do nothing wrong. He just asked him questions and made sure he answered them instead of bringing him on the show to just talk BS and lies. Good. What happened?
Canceled. And it's an epidemic. Willie will tell you it happens in New York City schools. It happens in colleges. And all of this adds up to people going, come on. Come on. This is crazy. Yeah. And Mike, it's having an impact from, again, the trans ad to, the athletics. And by the way, as we've said on the show 1,000 times, Democrats should be smarter on the women's athletics thing. 85% of Americans oppose men transitioning after puberty and competing against women. And I'm not just saying this the day after the election. I've been saying this for years.
Go fuck yourself. He is the biggest hypocrite in the world. He is the one person who's been beating the drum war against Donald Trump from day one. Let me just show you what he did this week. This piece of hypocrite, lying piece of shit. He will sell his own mother's tongue to make money. You understand? He will sell her tongue right away. Okay, let me make sure we got it right. Okay.
Says that the news network that is most critical of him should be taken off the air.
Okay, hold on. This is pre-election. Let me give you a little introduction. This is somebody just cut this in half to show you the hypocrisy of Joe Scarborough. Mika is I feel sorry for her. She's just hanging out with him because she's in love with this guy. But let's say before and after the election, how the gravitation toward power changes people's behavior and exposes the lies and the hypocrisy that this guy has been drumming this hate against Republicans and the Republican nominee, Donald Trump. It is almost criminal on his behavior.
Here, this is not a reach. I could go back and talk about Nazi Germany, and I do it without any concerns whatsoever. And if people
without any concern, here could talk about the Nazi Germany.
can't start drawing the parallels, well, you're just stupid, or you have your head in the sand, or you're one of them.
Over the past week, Joe and I have heard from so many people, from political leaders to regular citizens, deeply dismayed by several of President-elect Trump's cabinet selections, and they are scared. Last Thursday, we expressed our own concerns on this broadcast and even said we would appreciate the opportunity to speak with the president-elect himself. On Friday,
so now the narrative is by her and her husband is that they are so concerned for the safety of those people opposing Donald Trump and about the temperature of the country that they took it upon themselves to meet with Donald Trump just to make sure that everybody's safe. No, it's not. That's not what you did. You just pivoted so you cannot defeat this guy. You've been hitting at him for 7 or 8 years. You could not defeat him. You could not bring him down. So you went to kiss the ring like everybody else. Donald Trump gets his ring kissed. This guy, I think his mother and father, before they died, they used to pray for him that he makes him the king of America. Good.
we were given the opportunity to do just that.
All right.
Joe and I went to Mar-a-Lago to meet personally with President-elect Trump. It was the first time we have seen him in 7 years.
All right.
Now, we talked about a lot of issues, including abortion, mass deportation, threats of political retribution against political opponents, and media outlets. We talked about that a good bit. And it's going to come as no surprise to anybody who watches this show, has watched it over the past year or over the past decade, that we didn't see eye to eye on a lot of issues, and we told him so.
What we did agree on was to restart communications. My father often spoke with world leaders with whom he and the United States profoundly disagreed. That's a task shared by reporters and commentators alike. We had not spoken to President Trump since March of 2020.
And nobody really cares if you haven't.
Other than a personal call Joe made to Trump.
What am I doing?
On the morning after the attempt on his life in Butler, Pennsylvania. In this meeting, President Trump was cheerful. He was upbeat. He seemed interested in finding common ground with Democrats on some of the most divisive issues. And for those asking why we would go speak to the president-elect during such fraught times, especially between us, I guess I would ask back, why wouldn't we? 5 years of political warfare has deeply divided Washington and the country. We have been as clear as we know how in expressing our deep concerns about President Trump's actions and words in the coarsening of public.
You called him Hitler.
Debate. But for nearly 80 million Americans, election denialism, public trials, and January 6th were not as important as the issues that moved them to.
Before I throw up, okay? The whole idea is they went to Donald Trump. They went to kiss the ring like everybody else. They saw that the power has gravitated toward Donald Trump. You could not defeat Donald Trump for the last 2 years, 7 years. You threw everything at this guy, and whether it's true or not, I mean, he's not the perfect person, but at the end of the day, he is what he is. Now, all right, guys, now we're going to get to the Donald Trump. Now, everybody voted for Donald Trump as the America First president, right? We're thinking he's going to be America First, right? I mean, he's going to stop these crazy wars and all that stuff. And he's going to do what he could do, whatever, just to help. And the problem is that he has become Israel first president. He has put everybody, every Zionist you could think of, in his cabinet. Now, Donald Trump has every right to choose who he wants to as his cabinets, Matt Gaetz, whoever he wants to. He's the president. I mean, the Senate could advise and consent. That's it. They could advise and consent. That's all they got to do. I don't like when the media go batshit on Donald Trump whenever he picks someone. I have an issue because he's picking people that are APAC. Like, for example, look, this is our Secretary of Defense. This is this is Michael Waltz. This is our National Security Advisor. What's that? Money from APAC. This is New York Congresswoman, chubby Elise Stefanik. And what is that? 820,000 from APAC, and she's going to be appointed to the United Nations. Mario Rubio. Mario Rubio is probably the most experienced piece of shit there, but he's still owned by APAC, and he already made sure that Israel. What we're heading on is we are heading toward a war with Iran. Well, that's what's going to happen. You understand? This is what's going to happen right now. What we're doing right now is we're heading towards a war with Iran because everybody's appointment is anti-Palestinian and anti-Iranian and pro-Zionist. I mean, their allegiance is more to Israel than it is to the United States. The question you have to ask as an American, why is Donald Trump owned by AIPAC? Why is he owned by the Zionist entity? Why? Why every politician we have in both parties? It's like they own both parties. I mean, usually other minorities like blacks, okay, they support the Democratic Party, so they don't expect anything from the Republicans. But the Zionists and the Jewish small community in the United States gets to write both parties. The Democratic Party gets the votes. And the Republican Party gets the money. Donald Trump got $127 million from a lady called Miriam Edelson. Miriam Edelson is the Israeli wife of the late Sheldon Adelson, who's an American Jew who owned the Sands casinos, and now she owns the Dallas Mavericks. She bought it from Mark Cuban, right? And in 2019 or 2017, they gave Trump $100 million. So he promises that he will take the embassy, he will recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. And a matter of fact, he added the Golan Heights. This is land that belongs to the Syria as a gift. Now you might wonder, why did he? What's the $127 million that he got from Miriam Adelson, the Israeli billionaire? So he will deliver the West Bank. So Donald Trump he has a mandate from the American people. He doesn't need to be a Zionist toy. He doesn't have to be that. Donald Trump does not have to be a Zionist toy. He got a mandate from all of us. We all voted for him. I mean, this is the first time since 1964 that a realignment of all political spectrum came into a perfect storm. No one has done what Donald Trump has done since LBJ in 1964. He doesn't need to sell his allegiance to some women in Israel or to the Israeli lobby. You need to take care of America first. Now, I just read today that he has promised to not stop all the weapons, but to stop all restrictions that Israel is under from the United States, right, under Joe Biden. In other words, if they were holding any big weapons or any big bombs, Donald Trump just give it to them. Now, we don't know what the end game is in Israel, what's going to happen in the West Bank. But if Donald Trump was elected as the president of no more wars, he should live up to that promise. Because we needed a president for America. You have homelessness. You have veterans killing themselves. You have American teenagers dying of opioid in the United States. You have poverty. You have economic stagnation. People are not making money. They are making less money than they made 40, 50 years ago. If you do the inflation to dollar, what they were worth in the 1960s, I did it. In 1969, a father used to make $7,000 to $10,000 a year. He had a car, he had a house, his kids went to college, and his wife stayed home. Now, the average income of a husband and a wife is about $80,000. That's about the same amount in inflation ratio as the father was making in 1969. That means the wife is working for free. Nobody's raising the children, and here you are. I mean, this is the Secretary of Defense. Let me see if I have a video of what he's saying. These people are not embarrassed no more. There is no embarrassing, my friends. Let me see if this is it. I hope this is it.
This kind of money.
Jake, I'd like to hire you as my official photographer. Salary $10,000 a week. How would you like to?
Oh, I was gonna do this as Webster's Million. You know, sometimes I have these ideas in my head. They never come into fruition. Let me see if this is it. I hope this is the video. Let me see. Hold on.
This is not a hard call.
All right. This is when I mess up. Okay. This is the moment when I mess up and everybody laughs at me. Okay. This is a Secretary of Defense giving a speech. This is the one who was going to protect America.
And as you stand there, you can't help but behold the miracle before you. And it got me thinking about another miracle that I hope all of you don't see too far away.
What is it, my friend? What is it? Can you help us tell us what it is?
We are here in Jerusalem. And today, Jennifer and I and others had a chance to go see the western wall of the Temple Mount, the western wall tunnels, so much of the old city. And as you stand there, you can't help but behold the miracle before you. And it got me thinking about another miracle that I hope all of you don't see too far away. Because 1917 was a miracle. 1948 was a miracle.
Okay, 1917 is the Balfour Declaration by the Balfour II that they will establish an Israel state in Palestinian land. And 1948 is the War of 1948, where they deliberately, ethnically cleansed 750,000 Palestinians from their homes and their lands. He's calling it a miracle. I don't understand that. Let me put this guy. This is our Secretary of Defense right now. Go ahead.
1967 was a miracle. 2017, the declaration of Jerusalem as the capital was a miracle. And there's no reason why the miracle of the reestablishment of the temple on the Temple Mount is not possible.
Yes.
I don't know how it would happen. You don't know how it would happen, but I know that it could happen. That's all I know. And a step in that process, a step in every process, is the recognition that facts and activities on the ground truly matter. And that's why going and visiting Judea and Samaria, understanding that sovereignty...
That's the West Bank. He's going to Jordan and Samaria. This is the problem with Christian Zionists, man. They are concerned about Jewish establishing their presence on all the land and killing all the Palestinians over the idea of helping Christian Palestinians or Lebanese communities. They don't help their own people, man. You don't help your own brothers.
The very sovereignty of Israeli soil, Israeli cities, locations, is a critical next step to showing the world that this is the land for Jews and the land of Israel. And I believe, as was mentioned, he said you need to, what was mentioned is you need to buy the ticket. Don't just wish for 40 years to win the lottery, buy the ticket. I would submit to you, in light of the support you have in Washington, D.C.,
Yep.
the support you have amongst patriotic Americans, amongst evangelical Christians,
That's the problem.
amongst believers, amongst Republicans, even amongst some Democrats who can barely say it anymore in Washington, buy the ticket, take your action, do what needs to be done here in Israel, because I truly believe this is a moment where America will have your back. You have Donald Trump in the White House, you have Mike Pence as vice president, you have Nikki Haley at the UN, you have true believers in Israel and America that have your back.
This is the first Trump administration. I forgot his name. This is the guy on Fox News. He's going to be the next, what do you call it? Secretary of Defense of the United States of America. He's going to be the big boss, right? He's going to be defending America, I guess, right? Anyway, this is what I got to tell you. Donald Trump has a problem. I mean, it's not he has a problem. America itself has a problem. It is beholden to Zionist money, AIPAC money. It's out in the open. You don't need to. Just go to AIPAC tracker and you'll see how much money they all get. Every person in Congress gets money, except the squad probably. They don't get money. In the Senate, 97 out of 100, they get money from the AIPAC. Anyway, guys, I see you again until we meet next time. Man, I know. I'm very, very boring. I want to get, don't worry, I want to get the hang of it. After 4 years, I should hang it up. I see you all, man. God bless you all, man. Love you. And I gotta let you know. Shoot, shoot, shoot.
Yeah, bitch so bad I wanna shoot.